everyone, welcome to Tales from the Casino Pit. This is a podcast about stories in the casino industry. And now, here are your hosts, Jay, John, and Mike.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Tales from the Casino Pit podcast. My name is Jay. You can find me on social media at Casino Dealer Jay. And guess where I am? I'm in Lethbridge. So that's why you see a hotel room in the back. I didn't want to miss another episode because last week I was in jury duty. So how exciting was that? So unfortunately, I couldn't really put anything up because I was sequestered. If you have any questions about jury duty, totally ask me because it was a whole lot of fun. Not really. But anyways, we are in episode 8 of our podcast. John, Mike, and Danielle are running a little bit late, so they're going to jump on a little bit later. Hopefully the sound is good because I am just using my webcam mic since I'm in the hotel right now. So, all right. So let me introduce our special guest this week. We have Tim.
Yo. Hey.
How's it going?
What's up, casino folks? It's good. It's great.
Hey, it's so good to see your face. I think the last time that we worked together was at Baccarat downtown, and I don't remember what year that was because it's been so long.
No, we worked together at River Cree.
Nope, I wasn't at River Cree. Nope.
Never?
Nope, never.
Oh,
never
shit.
at River Cree.
Then it would have been Bach. Where did I learn craps? That was at Bach? I thought I learned craps from you. That was at Baccarat?
That was at Baccarat if you did, yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. That's so long. Everything's so jumbled.
Well, yeah. So we did work at Baccarat. I think it was like 10 years ago now. Holy smokes.
Yeah. More than that,
so, probably. Well, yeah, our heyday was 2008 for sure. So I remember all of us, like you, myself, Steve, and Emery working there, and it was a whole lot of fun. Never forget that. So, yeah. But I know that you worked more than there. So for everyone that's meeting you for the first time, can you kind of give just a rundown of like your casino history and your career?
So I guess like most of us, we started off at K-Days. That's I think the first one we did. I think that was in 1990, 91. I'm not sure. Like my P number is 8459. I managed to keep that, so it's fairly low. But then I went to University of Toronto. So when I went out there, I was looking for a job. And coming as a fresh dealer out of K-Days, I had some work experience, I guess. And just started to work for these things called charity casinos. And they were more like roaming ones. There was no set location. So you basically got a monthly schedule, and it'd be like 3 or 4 days at one location. Then it would move to another location. There was night and day shift. And the only 2 games they had was blackjack and poker. So, it was kind of interesting. It's kind of fun in that you're essentially a journeyman dealer, I guess, in that you're traveling all the time. And out of all the different venues, you get to have the different food there. Sometimes it's a restaurant, sometimes it's a hall. Like I remember one time being at a place called El Macambo, and that was it's actually a famous concert venue as well. And they had like good jerk chicken. I remember something like that. And another place was the Flamingo, something like that. It was like a Spanish restaurant and club.
Oh wow.
And then there was some ghetto ones that were like down in a basement. There was like no ventilation, and you have all the grandmas like blowing smoke in your face. Oh man, those are not healthy times for sure. And then and then there's some, I think, at like the CNE. There's some random, like you'd have to go out into the burbs too. But
Yeah.
what I remember was there's probably a solid 5 or 6 companies that basically had their own region, and we were downtown Toronto. The company was called Taj Mahal,
Okay.
and then there was Casino Aces and some other one. I forget them all. There was a bunch, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was kind of cool. Actually, had a friend that would play quite often, and he paid his tuition at these blackjack tables. And the good thing about it was you could play the whole table at $10 a square. And you know how that's different than, here in Alberta, where was it three spots is max bet, 2 spots is double, right?
Yeah. Well, now
Back in the day.
originally, yeah, and then
What is it now?
it's now 3. It's five times, and then more is the maximum. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So to play the whole table, you have to play max. Yeah. Whereas this one was, I think it was just $10 a spot. Maybe it was a 5-10 and then $10 a spot. So yeah, you could play 7 squares at $70 a hand to break the banker, and splits, doubles, all that was applied. It was actually a good model for if you just tried to bust the dealer, right?
Yeah.
I think it was decent for. I know that guy did well, so it was cool that way. And then poker games, I think it was just like 5-10 limit. I don't think we had no limit back then. It's like 5-10, 10-20. That's it. Yeah.
So how many games
And then
were?
this was all.
Yep.
Sorry.
Nope. I was just asking
what?
how many poker games were usually running, because you said there's like a 5-10 and.
Yeah, no, it was really small. Maybe, again, it's a traveling casino, so I think blackjack was predominantly there, and blackjack had 7 to 10 tables, and they were all sit-down tables. And poker, maybe 1 or 2 games at max. It wasn't. But I remember back then, you'd have to take your deck and sort it and talc powder it, something like that. But I remember always having to sort the deck after you got off the table, something like that.
Oh, that's
Yeah. Did we do that? Did we do that in Alberta? No, we just ban it, right?
At the end of the night we did, but not.
No. This is talking about per rotation. So once you're off, you have to sort it.
No, we could never do that. But yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back to just a comment here, because it's Mike H. Usually we don't use last names, but I think you know who that is. He's saying you learned craps at Baccarat for sure, Tim.
Were we in the same class? We must have been.
Maybe
I know Jay Lee taught. You were my trainer.
I was your trainer.
Yeah.
But you were already a poker manager, weren't you?
Yeah, but I got my games manager license through Baccarat.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember, and then in order to do that, I had to get my craps, which I never had.
Yeah, that's an interesting rule, because nobody really had that rule before. So that was something that was probably added like later on. So like 2010, 2011. Yeah, they never had that rule before where we had to be like all games, but they still asked the questions in the games manager exam. But
I think that if you were ever to be a games manager, you'd want to know all the games. You'd have to know if you had to run a floor, right?
Well, yeah. I'll say this. I mean, a lot of the older games managers, they were all games at the time, right? But then like Tiles came in, and then craps came in, poker came in, it evolved. So a lot of them never really went back to actually learn the games, right? So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
They're more like shift managers where they're just running schedules.
yeah. So I can tell you right now that if like I was a games manager still, I probably wouldn't know like 4-card poker and all these new
Oh,
these
the
new
prop
little
game?
those prop games that come in. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
know them, so it would all just kind of be like and pot limit. Like I never got to deal pot limit, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because at Palace they only had limit, and then they did have like it was always 3-6 limit, and then like there was a 5-10 every now and then the 1-2 limit
Yeah.
took over. But
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, basically, Baccarat Circa was I took over for Lena, and Lena had the range of high limit games in the daytime. So we had that crew, and fortunately, that's where the PLO, the high-low split, dealer's choice, we all implemented it. We were kind of, I think, during that time, we were kind of like the forefront of poker game development, I think.
Mhm.
Not necessarily the busiest room, but and this is all pre-century too. Pre-century, like we stuffed so many tables into that little space. Like I remember us bringing in the portable tables to bring in 10, 12 games into that small little balcony space, which is crazy when you think about it. Right?
yeah.
But we would pack those tournaments because we basically had the north side blocked off. We had no competition.
Mhm.
So all the north side came to us. Those are
Yeah.
good. Those are the times for poker, and that was poker boom too.
That's
Chris Moneymaker era, right?
Well, what I remember about Baccarat was the show hand games. Those were ridiculous.
Well, see, that was before my time, I think.
Mhm.
Shohan, I think you were there before for me.
Well, I was there, but like the only reason why I know that was I wasn't playing Shohan, but I was playing like 3-6 because I was basically studying while I was there, and that was the casino that I go to just to kind of sit and study and try to pay my tuition. So yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, before we move on, I just want to bring in actually no, I'll make sure he's ready. Are you ready? Yeah, okay. I just want to bring in my co-host, Jonathan. Well, hello. Am I supposed to bring you on, or was I supposed to wait?
Oh, that's all good. Hey, how's it going?
Have you? Well, I guess you guys never worked together because you were in different.
I don't think so. He doesn't look familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a lot older now than I was when I was in the casino. So nice to meet you. How's it going?
Well, aren't we all?
Strangely enough, though, I had the same amount of hair that I did when I left casinos like 15 years ago. So I had no hair then. I had no hair now.
I'm opposite. I had a lot of hair, and I turned into the. I think I came in when I came back. I had long hair, the ponytail. Now it's like join the bald man club.
I think the majority of the people that come on this show, the guys anyway, but I won't speak for the women, but we have no hair.
It's all the stress, and it was all the pre-smoking day in the casino. We were affected.
Exactly. The healthy living of casinos have made us all bald in our middle age.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I guess Tim, you were working at. When did you start at Baccarat? I don't know if you answered this yet, but what year? Do you remember?
I'm gonna say 2007. Because prior to that, I had actually worked at Yellowhead and Argyle for brief stints. Then Baccarat was probably the longest. And then I did a couple swings at Palace because I was kind of running both rooms at one time. Or not running both, but involved with.
Right.
Because Jason Worrell was there at one time, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then in River Cree, 1 year after Baccarat. So I've done the Edmonton tour. Yeah, except for not.
Yeah,
I was never. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it sounds like you worked in every casino in Edmonton.
Yeah, pretty much. Not Century, not the St. Albert Gold Dust, and never downtown ABS, but the rest. Yeah. And a stint in the Calgary Stampede. That was fun.
Oh.
The quarters roulette table, 200 max chips. Like, you can move up. You can bump up your denomination there. Oh no, I'm good.
No, but it was
All
fun
right.
buying in. It was fun buying in for $50 and having 200 in color, and then you just blast them on. I remember when the casino I trained in, we had quarter roulette, and we had this one guy, and he would buy in for 3 colors, and we're like, what?
Oh,
and they're like, yeah, because we had 12 roulette, right? And he's like, he'd buy in for 3 colors, and then so I'd give him like literally 500 chips, and then he'd be like, everyone knew him. He was a really cool, this young Asian guy. He was massive, and they would go. They used to call him Arrogant John, but he was a nice guy, really. But anyway, so we give him all the chips, and then he go spin. I'm like, you've got all these chips, you haven't placed a single bet. And the pit boss would be like, oh, don't worry, spin. And then he'd spin the ball, and he'd hit one number, and he'd just go like all these chips, and it was terrifying as a trainee. It was like, oh my god, please don't hit.
I think I remember that. I think I remember a guy like that. Yeah, I vaguely remember something like that. But I'm sure there's a few that have been go that route. Just like to see the chipper scream.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
screams on a word.
I do remember like just going there in Baccarat and playing, and they had like 3 tables, and they did have that single zero, which was it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's way better off.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, Tim, like now, I think you've been detached for a few years from the industry. Is there something that you feel like is missing? I don't know the last time you've actually been in a casino and kind of looked around, but do you feel the culture is a lot different than it was before, or do you think there's no change? Or
to tell you the truth, I can't even remember. I guess the last casino I went to was Grand Villa, and that was after an Oilers game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always lively after an Oilers game. I mean, as far as the culture, I don't know. You still see the same old folk. The gamblers are the gamblers.
Yeah.
And then you have your weekender, whoever. I don't know. I know it always changed by what part of the city you were in.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, I felt a different vibe, that's for sure. But now down the line, I haven't been to the casino.
Mm-hmm.
I do everything online now, so just like everybody, a lot of other people.
Well, no, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, really, it's like, is there, I always like asking, but is there something that would ever like bring you back to work in the industry again? What was it that?
When I was laid off for 9 months, I was like, oh, well, maybe I could go back to, you figure it's your fallback job. But I mean, in these times, that wasn't even an option. So, but would I go back? I guess. Like now that I'm in the trades and I use my body a lot, I think when the body gets really down and you need something to do, that's probably where back in the day, you always see the old timers, the old guys that are just dealing cards or whatever. They stuck in the industry, and it's it's fairly laid back in that you still. What are the break schedule right now? Is it hour 15s or 45 15s?
Yeah, I think that it's mostly hour 15s or hour 20s now. So there's no 45 15s. Yeah.
No more 40 20s?
No more. No, that's a myth for the new people.
I'm thinking of coming back into the casinos when I'm 75.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna
Right?
make a remake. I might take like a 45-year break and then come back when I'm like, like when did I left 16 years ago, so I'd be what would that be? Well, 37, 40, 82. So I'm coming back when I'm 82.
Oh wow. Well, that's a good thing about it is that if your math skills are fairly sharp and your fingers are nimble, then it's pretty much riding a bike. Like dealing poker is, you just go through the motions. It's very automatic for poker dealers that have done it for how many hours, 10-hour late night shifts or whatever. But what would bring me back? I'll tell you what would bring me back is the half Sundays with Steve Vo. Those were the best days of dealing in the casino. Half hour on, half hour off. Watch sports all Sunday. Can't get any better than that.
Oh yeah.
That's the dream. That's the casino dream right there. Right? Who can top that? What can you top that as a casino dealer?
Well, I remember when I used to work in the Palace with Jay and Mike will be on you later. And when the bad beat went, and I remember Mike one day was in a poker room and they were like, oh, there was no game. So they just told him, you know what, just go in the staff room and come back we'll call you when there's a game.
Oh yeah.
He went in the staff room, fell asleep, and he slept his entire shift. He didn't get woken up till like 7:30, something like that, after his shift had ended, and he was so mad. He's like, what do you mean? We're like, Mike, you slept for 7 hours on the sofa. You've slept, never dealt once, and he was mad that nobody woke him up at 7 so he could leave.
Oh man.
That's what you get spoiled, and then you want everything, right? Nobody woke me up for dinner.
No, that's hilarious. I just, I mean, like that's kind of like how the culture was back then, right? I think there were times.
Kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you and Steve going half house is not for me. I'm just when I hear that's like, yeah, of course, right? Of course, you guys wouldn't get in trouble for something like that. You're the manager anyway, so. But
no, this was pre-manager. This is
really?
we were both just dealers. We were both dealers. No, dealers. Not housing, nothing, no responsibility. Half on the table, half off. Awesome. One game, only one game. That's how you got the half.
Oh my god!
Right? You're like no, don't. You're hoping that wait list doesn't fill up. Because of 2 games, now you're back to 40-20s.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Oh, that's classic, man. That's the best.
No, fair enough. I mean, I won't lie. I think there was times where when I was like a boxman, I would we had like a crew of 4, and I would let them secretly go halves. So I won't say what casino. Because I'm not gonna get questioned about it. So, but yeah, I don't know. That's what I love about like the casino, like having breaks every hour and I think
for sure.
You talked about 40-20s. Like I bet that was amazing when we had 40-20s, especially if you're a last break. I think it was like, wow, this is
40-20s last break. 40-20s last break was the second best shift to the halves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I worked in a casino in the UK, and if you got the last break, because you couldn't go on whatever, and if you had the last break of same rotation, and then the last break of the evening. So say for instance the casino closed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So if you had like 1:40 till 2, everybody on that break had to tidy the staff room. So it was like the shitty one. Nobody wanted it. They were like, I don't want that one. I don't want to tidy up the staff room and empty the ashtrays and tidy it up, because you spent 20 minutes really tidying up. I'm like, can I get the other one? Like the one before it, so I come down and then the other ones go up and clean. Yeah, I used to hate that. Being on the last break, it sucked.
Oh, okay, yeah, that puts a different spin on that for sure. No, ours was last break, you leave, right? That's generally how it was.
Yeah. There are some casinos where they're like your last break, but you need to help sort the cards, or a little too anal, but yeah. Again.
Yeah. So when our 15s came in as like, oh, it's hard for us older guys to adjust to that. Like, what are you talking about? So that's the standard now.
Yeah, it's the regular now. You
I'm
actually
not
do
coming
get
back.
well, you eventually do get used to it, and the night actually
No, I
does go
know.
by a little bit faster, and you can
True.
see like the progression because it's like it's 9:15, 10:30, 11:45. So like you can see it just jump and jump. So
Yeah, but the thing is, you trying to scarf a meal down in 15 minutes versus like that 20-minute to eat something is a big difference. That extra 5 minutes to finish your food, especially if you're a slow eater.
or a smoke
Well,
or a smoker. Yeah.
yeah, because you have
Smoker,
to eat, drink, like you have to eat, smoke, get your drink, bitch about the players, try and have a laugh, and then pee all in 15 minutes was kind of a bit of a
Yeah.
bit of a challenge, eh?
Well, that's why you have to stagger those things. But if you're a smoker, then yeah, it definitely adds another element.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the days. I don't know. Like what other job where you get a break every hour? It's still a pretty classic thing in that respect.
But
Yeah.
I was always thought though that like it always seems so generous of the casino to be like, oh, like because you think of it, worldwide, there's all the casinos gives you break every like hour and 20, whatever, typically anyway. And I remember a long time ago, I saw this report and it said people's concentration after an hour and 20 minutes gets worse and worse and worse. So they kind of like they just make more and more mistakes. So casinos are doing it probably because to keep us on the table longer, it would cost them more money than just hiring another dealer to just give you breaks. Because realistically, I'm sure casinos, if it made sense, would go, okay, you're going to be on that table, and we're going to get for 8 hours, and I'll give you a 30-minute break in the middle, right? So if they could get away with it, they would. But your head goes like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely think that's why it's set up that way because and you know how it is when you're dealing with people's money and you make those mistakes, people get irate and that's the worst thing that you want. Like as a poker houseman, having to, what do we have to do when it's an early burn and turn, like, and that somebody misses out on that pot that was supposed to be theirs. Like, how do you really justify that? Oh, sorry. Like, what are you gonna do, right? It happens. But yeah, it sucks. And of course, when you deal with money and as I said, like poker or the casinos, adult daycare, that's all we are, is just daycare runners.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I would never. I don't know. I hate to admit it, but I think being a poker manager is probably one of the toughest jobs in the world. So, just because of all those situations that happen, and like, there's a lot of situations even now that I see. It's like, how the hell did that happen? And it's so unique, and it's so difficult. Like for me, when I was like working with you, it was so difficult to train poker, just because of like, hey, what if this happens? What if this happens? There's so many what ifs in poker where, you really need to be on the ball in order to manage.
Well, let alone, I don't know how many times we had to revise house rules to look at that word, look at the sentence and fix the word to evolve to fix the situation that we've come across now. Oh, this variable has changed, so let's be more specific. What are we allowing? What's some other room allowing? It's like, it's crazy in that respect. That's just the game. And yeah, as you said, poker manager, actually any middle management sucks because you get shit on by the players, the dealers, upper management, right? So you're kind of in the hub of it all. So whatever. But you know what? It was still pretty fun, Running a downtown poker room has its stories for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of that, like what's one? Yeah, what's do you have an embarrassing story that you wanted to share?
Embarrassing. Well, this one didn't really happen during casino hours, but it was during winter, and I was late for work, and I remember rushing in the front entrance, and somebody didn't like sand, or for whatever reason, the inside carpet was super slippery. So I came in trying to rush up those stairs, and I literally like my body went horizontal. Like I slipped and my body went horizontal. And at that time, Jabril saw me, and he saw me go full horizontal, and he had a laugh for sure. But that was kind of embarrassing, I guess. But it's like,
man.
you know how the freeze and the refreeze happens, but you wouldn't expect that to be on the inside.
Well, at that casino, anything is possible. So
yeah, so that's probably, I think that's the biggest embarrassment, I guess, and probably getting pulled into the office for yelling at somebody. Oh, Tim, you can't do that.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I want to just talk about that poker room because, like when it was in the back there, I did not think that it could support all of those people and the table and everything. It was funny because they were talking about bringing the poker room down and then bringing the slot machines up. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way it's going to hold those slot machines.
Hold the weight. Well, even the weight. Yeah. I don't even remember at full capacity. If the floor ever moved or bounced. I don't think it did, but it was just because we normally had 6 tables. That's the standard. And then we would push the tables to the back and fit in 3 more. But didn't we get like even 2 more on top of it? Oh, we had the side room too. We had that little room.
That's right.
So I thought we got up to 10, 11. Yeah, I remember it being like 120 people upstairs in that little room.
Wow, that must have been so hot.
Yeah, no, I think the circulation wasn't too bad because it was kind of up and about. Yeah, I don't remember it being that sweaty, to tell you the truth. But then I remember them getting that carpet. Do you remember that carpet? Looks like crazy Jersey cow. I'm like, who the hell ordered this carpet, man? This is the ugliest thing. It's like red, maroon, and black, and looked like Jersey cow. I'm like, was this on sale? Like, why is this representing our casino? It's terrible.
I must admit, though, the Baccarat casino was the ugliest casino I'd probably ever been in. Even from the outside,
Really?
I thought it was so ugly. You go up to him and you go, I don't understand who designed this. I understand. I was like, man, this is ugly. And you walk in there. Yeah.
It's unique.
That's just a polite way of saying ugly. It's like, oh, don't worry. You're attractive. You're like, no, it's ugly.
Well, my actual first experience with Baccarat was when I came back from Toronto and maybe even Taiwan at the time, but we were partying one time, and then somebody brought me to this, what I thought was a underground poker room, because we went through the back entrance. So we're like, oh, okay, what's up here? Go up these stairs. Oh, it's a poker room. Cool. Okay, so played some poker. And I had no idea there was a downstairs or anything, like, because it was late at night. Then realizing, oh, this is a full casino. And then eventually working it and being the poker room manager there. So it was pretty funny. Some funny stories, or like the celebrities that you got to meet downtown.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
You did meet a fair bunch of celebrities, a lot of hockey players for sure. So
yeah, a lot of hockey players that stayed at the Sutton place. So a few times I remember one story where Jerome McGinley was watching. It was a tournament, and he was just kind of standing there watching. So I was, I think, a houseman at the time. So I just kind of nudged him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, so when are you thinking about coming to play for Edmonton? And then he just kind of gave me the smirk and just laughed. Didn't say anything after that. So that was kind of random there. And then I remember the Sedin twins coming up one one day. It was like in the afternoon, and they just came up, and it wasn't very busy. They came up, looked around, then went back down. Nothing too exciting. And then another time, three Detroit Red Wings actually came. It was Brian Rafalski, Lilia, and Lebda, and they had wanted to play a 1-2 no limit game, and then we didn't have one at the time, so they basically opened it up. And then there was a few, like I think it was a 7-person table, and yeah, so we had a 7-person table with 3 Detroit Red Wings playing, which is kind of funny. And that was like a mid-afternoon game. And then another one was the celebrity poker tournament we held, a charity one. And I remember teaching, I think her name was Diane Steele. No, Linda Steele.
Linda from the news.
Yeah, the news, the one with the deep voice. Pretty good looking for her age too, right? But I had to teach her in that side room how to play poker because she was going to be in this tournament. So I gave her a little lesson. And the funny thing was, though, this was a half and half tournament. So we had 10 celebrities, and then it was open to the public. So we had like, can't even remember, maybe some lacrosse player, Yukon Jack, Linda Steele, some other dudes. I can't remember. Anyways, who else played was 3 other Oilers as regular players. It was Devin Dubnyk, Peckham, and Ryan Jones. Is that right? The one with the long hair. Right? He had long hair and he was like a hard-nosed guy. Yeah, right? Okay, yeah. So they ended up playing. But the funny thing is Devin Dubnyk played it and won the tournament as a regular player. And I remember getting a picture with him. It was kind of funny. So actually Devin Dubnyk won and Linda Steele won the celebrity side. So I'm a good teacher.
Oh. So guys, if you have any questions for Tim, make sure you ask. Tim's worked in the East Coast and the West Coast, so it's nice to have you on. Before we move on, I just want to introduce another one of our co-hosts, All Day Daddy.
Sorry, I'm late. Hi.
Hi.
How's y'all?
Good.
Hey, Danny, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm not good at computers or technology or anything.
So have I don't think I've worked with you before either, Danny, eh?
Probably not.
No.
No, I've worked in 2 casinos, 4 years in the industry. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Danny's our Calgary representative, so we have North and South represented very well today. Since I'm in Lethbridge in a hotel room, if you look, they put me in a double bed, which is like, wow, that's nice. I don't need it.
One for your clothes, you can jump from bed to bed.
Yeah. One for your stuff and one for your sleep.
I'm doing an American Ninja Warrior to kind of pass the time right now. So. I do want to say something though, Liz, because I'm at the hospital here in Lethbridge, and both times when I was leaving, so there's a men's locker room, and I'm like changing out of my scrubs. There was like a housekeeping lady that was in the men's washroom, like in the washroom in the locker room, and she was like changing the linen bags in the garbage, and she kept passing by the locker. So because I got a temporary locker, she kept passing by, and I'm like, shouldn't you not be here? Because I'm standing up and I'm like trying to change, and then she passes by and I'm like, okay, I gotta sit back down. But like 2 days in a row, there's like a lady in the men's locker room, so it's a little embarrassing. So yeah.
Jay, did you drive to Lethbridge or did you fly? Or
I did, yeah. They gave me a fleet car. I love AHS, it's great. So I got to drive all the way down here. So. And they told me I could have went to Calgary tonight. Yeah, it's about 5 hours. So tomorrow I'm going to Calgary in the morning, and then I'm going to head home after. So
It's not like there's anything to do here, though.
I know. I have to. I'm going to a hospital in the morning, and then we'll see what happens after that. Yeah.
I had to.
Alberta wide.
Go ahead, John.
For the previous role, I had to go to Lethbridge for like a kind of like a trade show thing, and it took me 5 hours to get there. I was in this trade show for like I flew there too, so it's a really short flight. But there's no direct flight from Edmonton to Lethbridge, so I had to fly from Edmonton to Calgary, huge overlay, and then fly from Calgary to Lethbridge, and then the same way coming back. But coming into Lethbridge, the airport is so small. There was the first time, literally, I walked up the plane, like, you get in this little, it looks like a crop duster. So I got on the plane and there was no door separating me and the pilot. So as we're flying in and coming down to land, I'm like, I can see he's flying at the dashboard. I was like, what the hell? There must have been, I think there was about 6 of us on this little crop duster. We land in Lethbridge. There's nothing there. There's no stores. There's no car rental place. There was no Uber. I said, do you have an Uber? They're like, oh, we have one, but he doesn't work during the day. It was the weirdest place. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. But it's just strange going in that airport.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
My wife, she has a fear of flying, and she also works for AHS, where she had to go up north to GP and all these other little more of the smaller towns in Alberta, and they put her on all these charter flights, and he told me like it's scary because you can feel every bit of turbulence, every bump, and you feel like the thing's gonna fall apart. Much different than the big.
The only time I was ever in like one of those small planes was when I went skydiving, and I was like sitting up front with the pilot. It's so tiny, like my knees are scrunched to my chest, just waiting to be pushed out of this small airplane. It was terrifying.
Well, at least you know you're gonna fall. You're supposed to come fall out of that airplane. So it's different. When you're flying a charter flight, you're not expecting it to fall, but you think you're going to.
Yeah, Danny, you were prepared. I mean, like you're like, well, shit happens. I'm going out, and I've got to shoot.
You think you're prepared, and then you're sliding down these benches with somebody on your back, and once you get to the door, it's too late. They just shove you out. They're just like, bye.
That just sounds terrifying to me. I'm scared of heights. I don't even like going up ladders. So the thought of jumping out of a perfectly good plane is terrifying to me.
Well, since I moved on for a casino, I've built that JW Marriott hotel in Edmonton, and so that's 57 flights. And I'm outside on the edge, the leading edge. I put up the aircraft lights. So those two lights have to be the highest point of the building. And I used to be afraid of heights, but now you get over it.
Yeah, I would just resign. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go outside.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Go ahead, John.
No, I was just going to say, because I was a bit late coming in, I might have missed it. So, Tim, how did you end up in like out east working in casinos?
Oh yeah, because I went to U of T. So I think again I started at K Days, Klondike Days in Edmonton, and so I think we were just turned 18, or no. Were we able to do that earlier than 18 K Days, like 16, 17?
No.
Do you remember, Jay?
No, you had to be 18 as far as I remember. Right? Yeah.
Okay. So maybe because I did go out to Toronto at 17, so maybe I came back to do K Days at 18 as a summer thing, and then went back out to Toronto with some casino dealing experience. And that's where I found these charity casinos that I was telling Jay about. So yeah, that's ended up doing that. And the funny thing is, well, I guess it's not that funny, but my second or third year, I was on probation. And then not from doing anything illegal, but school probation because my marks weren't great. And and then I had met some bookies that were my boss at this charity casino called Taj Mahal, And I remember placing some student loan money on some of these bets. I think the $500 a game, and I think my student loan was only like 3,500. So I ended up going from like a daytime student into a nighttime student and working like 16-hour shifts. You know, I'm like, yeah, sign me up. 16 hours, no problem. Day shift, night shift. Do that 3 days in a row.
Wow.
And then, yeah, I remember we would get tipped out every 2 days, cash, and it was a floating rate. So like anything, right? But I think the bosses were a little bit shady there on some. Could have been something like that. I don't know. I know it wasn't the greatest place to work, but it was a job.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really cool experience. I mean, like.
Oh no,
I don't
yeah.
know.
As I said, yeah, it was cool in that you got to see the landscape of downtown Toronto. That was the first place I ever saw those $1,000 bills. Some guy brought in 3 of them.
Yeah, that's
Dropped it
cool.
on table. I don't know if he was paying the bookie or he was actually gambling with it. And then yeah, I got introduced to some underground ones too, where you go ring a doorbell, buzz up, and there's a roulette table. So that was the first time I saw any other game than blackjack and poker. Was this underground casino, and then this is all pre Casino Rama. So this was the only option. And I think you could go down to Casino Windsor or Windsor Casino, I think was around at that time. But no, beyond that, that was the only option in Toronto.
Yeah.
So did you learn
Go ahead,
roulette in an illegal casino?
No. The charity casinos were legal.
Oh.
Same model. I don't remember. I think you had to have a license with some sort of charity, just like in Alberta.
Oh, okay.
So I think there was something like that in order to hold that license, because it was called charity casino. So there was always something associated with it. But again, it was cool because every 3 or 4 days you would go to a new location, and so we had different spots that we would go to. Yeah, that was kind of the interesting part of it.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Sorry.
What's Casino Rama?
Oh, Casino Rama is the one in Orillia, north Toronto. It's a trek. Like you can't really. You'd have to drive there.
Oh,
So
it's just
still really. It's a standalone
like...
casino. No, it's a standalone casino. It's a big one.
Used to be didn't there used to be like a chain of casinos, Casino Ramas? You know, like the ABS type of thing.
No, there's only one. There's only been one Casino Rama in Orillia. I don't believe, and to this day, there still isn't a downtown casino in Toronto.
Really?
Is there? I don't think so. I think it's always been Orillia, Casino Rama, or Windsor. So or Montreal. You go to Casino Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
But just like how Edmonton has 93 pot shops and 8 casinos for a population of 1 million.
Yeah, same with
in
Calgary.
Toronto, right? Like, yeah, exactly. And then, but Ontario, they have like 1 casino and maybe 5 pot shops for all of Ontario. It's kind of, I guess, the West leads in that aspect. And then, but then BC's they lead us, right? Alberta's always been following in BC's footsteps as far as regulation and stuff.
Yeah, I know like BCLC is really, really hardcore. Because when I brought Pygao tiles over to Vancouver there, they were like, these are the rules and that's it. And I'm like, when I went through the rules, I'm like, oh, can we change this? That they're like, no, no. I was like, I have 13 proposals here, based on the rules, and we're talking about like deliveries and exceptions. And they're like, okay, we'll put it into review. The next day, it's like, no. I'm like, no,
Too much work.
They're like,
Too much work.
they're like, no to all 13, and I'm like, okay.
That's the one good thing that I liked when I was poker manager, and part of it also was having the relationship with Michael Croto, who is at AGLC. Because back in the day when I did K-Days, I believe Croto was in my class. So Croto, AJ, I think even Lena, we were all at that age where we were kind of started in that gaming industry. So later on, when Michael went up and stepped up into that role, sending in proposals, I could throw in like all these random things, like the promotion dollar. Like I think I created that, and like on the flop, and all these random little things that I could just propose, and he, for the most part, was open to it. So I think that was my one little legacy of leaving the poker rooms there.
That's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, too bad. When I was at River Cree, I was really trying to push to get that sports book open, and I was following whatever that bill was in Ontario that would have allowed a single game betting. And that alone would have allowed you to run the sports book, right? Instead of having to parlay it or something like that. Anyways, to push. Once you open that envelope, then it allows other avenues to do it. So would have been a fun, for someone who likes watching sports and gambling on sports, it would have been a fun little project.
That's one of the things that I like. I'm from the UK, right? So I'm from Wales originally, and there's like sports bet, like bookie, like betting shops or whatever, been legal forever, and you can bet on anything, any combinations of things. I mean, you can make up your own prop bet. I mean, people would go in and go, "Oh, my son was born yesterday. I want to bet that he'll play for England by the time he's 21." And like, okay, here's the odds, blah, blah, blah. And you can bet on anything. You can make up these bets. It's crazy. So when I came here and they're like, "Oh, what can you bet on?" And it's like, "Oh, that stupid thing where you have to bet 3 different, what's that? Sports." Yeah, I was like, what? That's boring. It's just like, what else? No, that's it. I was like, I don't know. It's way more fun when you can bet different things, right?
Well, that's crazy that you guys had the handicappers for that. Like you could just make something up, and you had someone that would lay odds for that. That's interesting.
Yeah. It was crazy. I mean, there was a big scam. I would say scam, but probably 30 odd years ago, there was this group of guys, and they traveled because a lot of these sports books were like privately owned, like little independent ones, and they were all over Britain, right? And there was these guys were going around, and they realized most like majors, like golf majors, there was usually a hole-in-one in at least one of them, right? So they would go around these different sports books, and these betting shops, and they would say, "Okay, how much odds would you give me that there'll be a hole-in-one, say for the Masters or for the British Open or whatever?" And these guys at the time, they would they didn't have the data or whatever, and they would give crazy odds. So they would just bet all these different places and just keep moving around, and they made an absolute killing. But it's we could bet on anything. I mean, that was the best thing about it, really. I mean, I kind of miss that stuff where you can go and bet on horses however you want to do it, bet on anything. It was so much
bet
fun.
on some like crazy stuff, like for like the Super Bowl. You could there was like 1 year. Do I have lots of echo?
Yeah, just got to turn your volume down.
Is this better?
Yeah.
You can bet on like which one of the performers is going to wear the most revealing outfit. Like you can bet on some crazy stuff. I think
I mean, really online there's all these prop bets that you can do, and they used to be a lot crazier. I remember being able to bet on like American Idol and like Survivor, and I would parlay that with like future bets. Like I love that. Or like the best odds is like best original song in the Oscars or screenplay where it's a 1.13 odds. Like that's a 13% booster right there, and it's a lock. You know, I'm not going to bet $100 to win $13, but if you're going to give me a 13% booster on my parlay, hook it up.
That was one of the big things. The difference, like, you know, from gambling here, like on the US, like North America, than actual in Britain. Because in Britain they would just give you the actual odds. So they'd be okay. This one is, and they would be like, oh, he's 8-5 on, or he's the odds are 5-8. What, you know, like the 8-5 or 8-5 on, and you know, or 73. So yeah, it was. I don't know why they did it this way, but yeah, it was a way more interesting way to bet, and to try and calculate how much money you were making, especially if you had like accumulators, like 3 or 4 bets in a row, and you go this one. I remember one time, you know, I had this accumulator, and it was about 5 different bets, and it made all this money. And at the time, there was this snooker player called Hendry, and he was like an amazing, he was an amazing player, and he was really young at the time, and he was 11-1 on. It was like basically, and at the time, the
he just started.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. But this one particular bet, it was like 11-1 on to win this bet, and it was a 10% tax. So basically, if you bet him, you couldn't win any money because you just have to pay the tax. And all my money was on it, and he lost. So it was like this huge accumulator, and he lost. I was like, oh, at least I'm going to get all the money I made before him, because I thought, oh, he's a shoo-in. But like, no, he lost, and I lost all the money I'd made before. I was so mad.
So that must have been more 11-10. If you lose 10% juice, it must have been like 11-10, not 11-1, right? Because if you won, you would lose the juice. So you're basically breaking even, something like that. So the odds are different. I mean, literally, it's like they were like odds on craps. You know, like 7-5, 7-6, something like that. Yeah, you never have the whole how you do it here, the spread and all that kind of stuff. Well, there's the 3 different styles, right? Like if you're the way it sounds like you're talking about is like almost like betting on horses, 7-5, 3-2, right? Which is basically you could break that down into a fraction. But I personally like the decimal system because it's always to 1. So I know 1.13, I'm only getting 13%, or if it's 3-1, 5-1, that's the easy way. And then the American way is like based on this plus 100. If you bet 100, then you get 7,500. It's that's so confusing to me. So decimal system is definitely the way to go. You can multiply it. You just take a calculator and multiply it all together to know your parlay. So I think that's just definitely the way to go. I'm actually trying to think about doing a channel called The Clever Better. And I want to go through all these strategies and explaining how to do sports gambling. And it was basically along the lines of being a frugal gambler, because I personally hate losing more than I like winning. So I think this was a model to teach people how you can be involved in gambling. Is the screen black, or is it just?
Yeah, it got really dark.
Okay, I think it's because my battery's dead. Okay. But yeah, I think there's a whole thing on playing the numbers and just being involved without really feeling shitty for losing. Excuse my language. I'll be right back. I need to get the light on.
Well, it's kind of cool. I actually had somebody in mind to talk about sports betting, but this is kind of, I don't want to say educational, but I think that sports betting is going to be coming by really soon, now that you can eventually, I think you can bet on single games now. I don't know if that rule's passed yet, but they want to do that. So then, pro line won't be how it is now, and you should be able to.
What's crazy is, the one that I would usually go to is Sports Interaction. And that's the one out of Quebec, the Kanawaki tribe. And so they kind of were smaller, but they were purely Canadian. And now you see that they sponsor the NHL, like it's sportsinteraction.com. So they've been really doing well in that aspect. And yeah, it would only make sense for AGLC to go single bet, because all the people are betting online and all that money is going somewhere else. You know what I mean? And it'd be dumb not to.
The best thing I think probably would happen if if some of this, like the CFL is bleeding money and they can't make any money, if they bring in like how basically all the sports usually in the US, they get so much money because of the sports betting, right? I mean, but how much more interested would you be to watch the CFL games if you could, you're betting on, okay, who's going to do this, like as you're playing through the game, it'd be more interactive, right? So I think they have to bring it in. They have to bring in like sports betting because
nowadays though, with all this, nowadays with all this fantasy stuff is the next level, right? This like the DraftKings and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Where you are like betting on players rather than the team, and it's way more intricate. And then I don't know if you guys heard about like there's that crypto trading card thing called Top Shots.
Top Shot.
Where you have ownership of a video clip of a sports moment. And yeah. So that's called Top Shot. But now there's a different one I heard on the radio where this guy's trying to say, you don't own a video, but you could have the chance to own a team, a franchise, and then you can sell off the little portions of the franchise. And there would also be a fantasy portion where wherever your ownership could actually be used as a utility. So not only are you just owning a value of you're not just owning a card, this card could be used to generate revenue.
Wow.
So it's like working ownership of some sort of league. So like this is like, it's really interesting. And I think all of this is like a race to again be the Netflix of it or whatever, right? Because you're gonna have so many people coming up with their own model, and like Top Shot says it has like billions of dollars in it. It's because like they have backing from the NBA players who are doing this and that, right? And so if you're a little guy who's got a little programmer and you want to do your thing, like get the market, that's the next race, right? Because it's easy to copycat these things now. All this digital signature stuff. Like even in the art world, right? It's like it can't be copied because it's a specific digital signature. So you don't even want the painting on the wall. You want this digital signature, right? Because the painting on the wall can be forged and copied. So this is this whole new realm of whatever. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's super interesting, and you know what? I think like Danny, you kind of talked about it before, where you can kind of bet on anything. I bet you at some point they're gonna have like Top Shots where you can collect like pieces of like movies and stuff, or pieces of like the TV series, right? Not just sports. And then the money can be used to like, I don't know, fund like a new season or a new movie. I think that would be amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I can see it happening.
Isn't that what they kind of do though? They do like little Kickstarter campaigns to fund movies or a show or a pilot. They kind of already do that, something like that.
Yeah, Kickstarter is a little, It's come up with some pretty fun like games and stuff, but I don't know.
Games, about game development,
about, like, shows and stuff on Kickstarter, but yeah.
Well, this crowdfunding, anyways. Like maybe not Kickstarter, but I know there's certain TV shows and whatnot that do get it. Like this one called Pipe Nation that's coming out in Alberta, and it's like an oil field drama. I was just an extra on it. And they do a lot of this crowds. Yeah, it was kind of fun. We got to be I was an anti-pipeline protester. we made some signs. Yeah, I posted that on Facebook and on a group, and I got lambasted, man. They're like, "You're not wanted here." I'm like, "This is for a TV show. Calm down. This is called acting. It's called acting." But they were like, just raging. Berta was on me full force.
For sure.
But the thing is, you know, at some point, somebody's going to take a clip out of that and then post it, and then people are going to think it's real. They're like, "Look at these guys.
Sure.
This guy. Do you know this guy? Look at him protest." And you're like,
Well,
I remember
speaking of that,
sorry.
the picture that I put up, I was like people over pipelines, and then some guy had taken that picture and rearranged the protest sign to like, "I like to smoke crack" or something like that. So like it happened like the day of. Oh yeah, I know. Oh, my image is now I'm a crackhead, so who knows?
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
So yeah, but back to the original idea of like bringing sportsbook needs to happen in the casinos. It should just be another avenue for people to spend their money, and get money.
To be honest, I think that it's a revenue source for sports in Canada, like the CFL or even university. I mean, like, have you seen that? Like, we've all seen like university sports in the US, football and stuff like that. Have you seen it when like I remember seeing like a game in like the US, in Canada, and I'm like, are they playing on a soccer field? It was just like there's like nobody watching. It was like, what is this? But I mean, I don't know. They just need a different source of revenue, right? And people will gamble on anything. So
the original reason why the 3-game pro-line parlay was put into place was because the government was afraid of the fixing, right? So what happens if you all of a sudden bring in this small collegiate sports gambling? It does allow for people to throw games here and there, and I think that's what they were worried about in the infancy of it all. But now, because it's so rampant, it's like, okay, it's gonna happen anyways, so we might as well get in on this money train. And why is all this money being shipped out to wherever? And we should bring it in. But even AGLC's model is like, oh, we have online gambling. Come on, play Alberta. $20 sign-up bonus. It's so late to the game though, right? Like by that time, all of us have like multiple accounts wherever, here and there. Got a $200 bonus, 4 times rollover, this and that, right? So it's kind of funny.
So okay, so my question then is, I know HLC did it. How come they don't let the operators do it too? Because then that would probably put some people back into work, and I don't understand like why the casinos here in Alberta can't do their own version of it as well. And you're still giving a percentage to AGLC, like to the government. Why wouldn't they accept that?
Yeah. Like I think it's probably tracking and security, maybe, because you know how like running a casino as a casino advisor, a lot of it is tracked pretty decently, right? And now, but I guess it's no different, like a chit in, chit out on betting the game, right? Yeah. I don't know what's really holding it back.
In all honesty, I mean, like, you can get white label credit cards for everything. I mean, I remember going to, like, when I first came to Canada, I go to football games and hockey games, drink way too much, wake up, and a few weeks later I'd be like, where did I apply for this Eskimo credit card? I can't remember this. You know what I mean? Like, so they would just get like residual income from it, right? So it'll be just a similar kind of thing. I mean, why couldn't you have like, Yellowhead's online gaming? It's just a white label version of whatever the casino, Alberta gaming is, right? They all have the same, because they have to have the same products, right? You could just have a white label one, right?
Yeah. If the software is all the same, and then you just have, as you said, the white label, or just you put your own casino's name on it, but the software is the same and it all goes centralized. Yeah, but I guess then you don't really have proprietary. That was kind of different. Running poker rooms was, every room was a little bit different in some of the house rules here and there, and then even just the spread of the games was always different. And so you knew that if I went to Argyle, they'd always have the 1-2, and Baccarat was 4/8 DC. So that's kind of when you have these individual proprietary things where it gives you that differentiation. But if it just becomes this central model where it's all really going in the same, maybe that's why it's not a thing.
But I sort of think I think it was in Saskatchewan that they have this like the virtual gaming. It was a little bit cheesy, but I mean like there's actually like a real dealer and he spins a ball and he deals and people are actually betting whatever, but it's all virtual.
Yeah. Live,
so, I mean,
live,
like,
but
so
virtual.
Yeah, so like I mean, I'm gambling with real money, but I log in and blah blah blah, and he's dealing blackjack. He doesn't have any chips in front of him. There was no roulette, whatever. But I mean, like, I think that is an opportunity, especially now with the way the COVID is, and like, okay, dealers could have their So, say for instance, people like to go and deal, play Pygar with Danny. They go, okay, I'm going to go on here. Danny's working. Okay, we will go play that. Play Pygar. I can gamble. We can interact. So people would go there, right? I mean, I think that's the evolution of gambling.
Well, so my friend has like an account on one of those sites, and it was super weird because we sat down at this table to play, and like we chose, there was like another person apparently playing too, but she only dealt out one hand, and we were sharing the hand. So like I chose to stay, but then she chose to, like the other person chose to split or like to hit or something. And then the dealer pulls their card. So we're sharing one hand. And I thought it was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Well, some of those they have what's called majority voting, and you can actually see like it'll say like, okay, 25 people are sharing this one hand, and what do you want to do? Yeah, like they have that now. Yeah.
So
that's wild.
Yeah, you can do so much more now with this virtual stuff and introduce all these. Like, have you heard of quantum roulette?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden they spin this thing and they have 3 special bonus. You're getting 100 times, 50 times, 20 on the number if you hit it, and it'll just change. It just changes to whatever each spin.
Weird.
Yeah. So digitally, like you can with the video gaming of everything, you can just change it so fast and change the rules and everything, right? Table games is still always going to be live. Table games is still really more about the atmosphere of sharing camaraderie in the room. It's the vibe, the energy. That's what gets people to come, right? It's not the actual gambling. Well, it is the gambling, but that's how it's different than online, right?
I remember like one time, talking about that, because I think it's all about the experience. I used to work on a cruise ship years ago, and we used to go to we had an overnight in Aruba, and we would dock literally, and it was about probably a 5-minute walk, 10-minute walk from the dock to the casino, right? So it was a big casino, so they had free alcohol, the bigger limits, more tables, whatever. And the casino would open, so we'd be after work, and the casino would be packed. And I used to say to players like, why are you here? You can bet more money, you're a big gambler, you can bet more money, in the other casino. They pay you drinks, you can do whatever. It's it's a real kind of like high-end casino. Not high-end, but I mean it's a big casino. Why are you coming back here? I mean, like, it's a better experience in here than it is going over there. Like the dealers, whatever. So I think sometimes people want more of the experience than they do some other things, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's the atmosphere.
I completely agree. It's like that how our casinos now have like those like slot machine roulettes, but it'll be empty and our tables will still be full, and like we'll have people on wait lists because like they just didn't like enjoy the experience, like they want to like actually place the chips themselves. It's just, I don't think it'll ever be like fully replaced, but so yeah, it's just like for
exactly. It's way more tactile. Like once you start video gaming it, and it's kind of flashy. Like I remember, I think it was at Palace where they had that video game roulette or craps or something, and it's just like this big light show, but you're just tapping, right? It doesn't have, you can't shuffle the chips like I know Jay likes to do. chip shuffling and stuff. You can't do that, right? That's some of the residual side entertainment that you're not marketing. It's just as you said, the experience, the atmosphere, the nervousness of not knowing the rules, right? Or then you're a pro gambler, you know how to play, you know how to do all the signs. Like it's just kind of this learning curve, this gamification of the live experience is what I think is also the allure of an actual table game casino.
Mhm.
But like in the realm of like internet poker versus a live poker game, the guys who are there to play poker and just want to make money, the live table game experience is just too slow. You're getting no hands.
True.
You're getting no hands. It's like,
'Cause online
hurry
you can
up,
play 4 tables, right?
Yeah, exactly. Multi-game table. I can just spin it. The statistics go that much more faster, right?
Yeah, but they
when
can
you
make
had
the rate on those games insanely high. Like, depending on what you're playing, it can be up to like $40 like a hand.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
my friend's been doing it, and like it's crazy. $40
But then that's
a
why
hand.
that's why they offer rake back too, right? So you're getting rake heavy.
For certain people.
But yeah, but it gives you the guys that okay, I play here often, I'm getting rake back, but you're getting rake pillaged at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have some like crazy online poker games now, like where you have to play like 80% of your hands or something, or you get kicked out.
Yeah.
And then...
all in. There's all in or folds now.
Yeah, they have some crazy games.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did a stint of this thing. It was called like a honeymoon thing where you had to do 30 days of these promos, and it was like play 600 hands of Russian cash, play 200 hands of all in or fold, and then after 5 days you reach this marker, you get $12. Like stuff like that. So you're just trying to figure out. You're just trying to figure out the math. Like, okay, if I play 1 cent, 2 cent, Omaha, dealer's choice, whatever, how can I maximize 500 hands? You know what I mean? And it's very interesting on the statistics and the math on how you can leverage it. So that was kind of cool. It was just a new gamification of a old product, right?
Mm-hmm. No, you know what? I remember, just after the boom, I was on this site. It was called Poker Source Online. And then what they did was they kind of veered you towards these new online sites. So then you would play poker on these online sites, and then they would give you a match bonus depending on the site. So if I put in like $100, they would match me up to $100. But then you have to play like a certain amount of raked hands. But while you're doing that on the site, Poker Source Online, the main site, would give you these points that you could trade towards gift cards, like poker books, poker chips.
All of them,
yeah. So everything that I got from that site, because I went on like 15 different sites and I played, and I got my money. Like it was called bonus whoring, really, because you put in 100 and you get 200 back. Once you do the minimum amount of raked hands, you cash out, and then you move on. So I played like limit like you wouldn't believe, and I would just try to grind even with my $100. Once I hit the raked hands, I would double my money and then get out.
House money, yeah, it's house money.
And then they were giving like Best Buy gift cards. So then I bought like an iPod Mini at the time, which was like a big deal, right? And then all the books, I had all the books, and I had a table. They mailed a table to me to my like condo or my townhouse. And I was just like, what the hell? I thought it was fake, and then it was like real.
Like a full-on poker table, like a what table?
Well, it was a fold-up
table.
table. It was a fold-up table, but at the time, it was like that was new. Like nobody really made those yet. And then I had all the movies. So like Danny, I bet you that movie that you have there that I sent to you, like Rounders. I think it was from like Poker Source Online. So like the residuals are there. All the poker chips that I had like a whole bunch when I had my own home games. They were all from that site. So it was bonus whoring, and it kind of helped me pay my mortgage off at some point. And
really, it was that. Yeah. Like, how much did you play?
A lot.
How many hours did you spend?
What Danny was just talking about, like multi-tabling. I was playing like 3 different sites, and I was playing like 3 tables per site, just trying to hit minimum. And I was playing 20.
Dual screen? Did you have a dual screen? Like, how did you fit all those tables?
Yeah, I did. Some of the sites at the time had like mini players, so then they would be like little tiny ones, and all you could see were like the suits and your own suits. And I was playing. I wasn't playing big money. I was playing like 25 cent, 50 cent.
Yeah.
And back then, the new sites were like Ultimate Bet, Absolute Poker, PokerRoom.com. So like there were known sites, and then there were some weird ones. Like there's Empire Poker, which was party poker at the time, right? There's Full Tilt before Full Tilt closed down, and then they came back. So these sites were kind of established, and there's some really shady ones too. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I can get my money back.
I couldn't, like, I tried playing like 6-7 tables at the same time. I couldn't keep up. Like it would go ding 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 ding, like when it was your turn. And I don't know if it was, it would be a multiple tournament table or cash games. I tried both and I couldn't keep up. So I don't know. It's a skill to do that.
It's
sure.
I'm not saying I'm proud of being like a bonus whore, but when I was playing, it was limit. It was 9 or 10 handed, so that gave you sufficient time to actually hit like pre-fold or pre-raise or whatever, and it was limit too.
And you just played super tight, it's just super high hands. That's it. Like essentially, right? Just let it cycle.
And you couldn't think either. Like if you thought and you're like sitting on a hand, all your other hands would prompt up. It's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you had a pre-fold. You had a pre-fold. Once you see it, it's like pre-fold to any bet type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check fold. Yeah.
Is that what your friend is doing, Danny?
Playing online. Yeah, but like there's like I don't even know which like app or which site he's playing on, but like his rake is super huge, and then they told him he can't like play on certain tables unless he gives them 10% of his winnings.
What?
And so he just plays like the really bad games because he's like, no, like I already pay $40 per hand in rake. I'm not about to give you 10% of my winnings.
What was the limit?
That sounds so sketchy.
Yeah, I know. It's
what
US
was the limit
dollars.
for the $40? What was the $40 rake? Like, what were the table limits on that?
25.50 PLO.
Okay, that's a big game.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah. So now he just has to play like these like other tables that aren't that great. So. Yeah, and it's also pretty hard because sometimes like you'll join on tables, right? And there'll be like only 4 of you, and then like it's pretty obvious when they're all together because like 2 of them will fold, the best one will go all in, and then the other ones will like fold, and then they'll just alternate all around until you're like out of money. So.
Well, when I was at River Cree, we had the table rental model, which I thought was pretty fair. So we had 100, 100, 200 PLO, and there was like 3 guys who would play it. But even if you did a $5 max rake with 3 players, that will still siphon a lot of money. 3-handed, it goes so fast, right? Yeah. I can only imagine $40. That's crazy. So I think what we did was like $100 for the hour each player, and so then that was decent that way.
Yeah, I remember one graveyard shift I was working, and there was like 2 people who just wanted to play heads up. So they were doing like $1,000 heads up for the both, and they were playing till like 10 a.m. And so I'm just sitting at this table, just dealing out 4 cards, just like going. And their like $5 rake is going so fast, so fast. Yeah. Like they would just like leave me money like on the side and be like, just take it, whatever. like they didn't care.
Well, back in the day, what was Shohan rake was max 10 or 20? Do you remember, Jay Lee?
I think it was 10.
10? Okay.
Because
which is a big deal.
Yeah, max was 5 except Shohan I think was 10, and that was the only exception. Okay.
Yeah. Well, technically it's 6, right? Here at least 5, and then one for the bonus thingy.
Let's not even
bad beat.
Bad. We had bad beat and high hand, but
So that's the thing. Like when I brought in promo dollar, it was now $7, right? Because it was bad beat plus promo dollar, and then the rake. But the thing is, the promo we were taking the players' money to give it back to them, so we used their money as marketing. So I don't know if that was a good thing and that's still happening, right? Like this extra dollar.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
well, we don't have that. We have like, well, we only have it on 1-2 no limit, but we have high hand, so our rake is $7 as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is, high hand. So what I call promo dollar, we would have high hands. We would have this thing called on the flop. If you could get a high hand with the flop, it was like whatever. Anyways, it was like so you could do all these. You had this extra money that you could play with and somehow give it away.
But it's not the casinos; it's their money.
It's not the casino's money; it's their money. Yeah. But they won it. But it was good though. It was like extra money. You know what I mean? Like you win an extra $500,000 for quad deuces or whatever random thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was tedious. It was tedious for the dealer. You got to do that and then play a dealer's choice game and deal with the high hand. There's like all this paperwork and it's like kind of dumb.
To tell you the truth. And I have to do it. It's such a hassle.
Yeah, exactly. Slows the game down.
And like it was so like because we just added it quite recently to my casino, and we would change the suits every day for like the royal flush and for the straight flush, and then we would change like what number the cards had to be for like 4 of a kind. And so I would be on like the furthest back table and they change it every day. So I never know what it is. So I'm like trying to squint to see it. Like if somebody has like quads or something, I'm like, what is that? Is that the right suit? I don't know. Yeah, we changed it every day. So somebody could get like quads and it was wrong, so they were disappointed. But I was like, oh, sorry, that was yesterday's.
when I brought it out, I think we had like quad deuces, 3, 4, 5, 7. It all had its own separate pot. It was that crazy. Like, yeah, we had like aces full of kings, quad deuces all the way up, and each one had its own pot, and that dollar would get divvied up at the end of the night. And so if it was one, it would rehab like, yeah, it's so complicated.
Yeah, but it kind of makes you play their hands differently, right? Because like if it's the day of like quad deuces, then they're gonna play they're gonna play their pocket pair so much differently than they would if it wasn't that.
It does. It definitely influences the game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're playing a low limit table and you're have your chance at $1,000 or $500-600. But I think it definitely added an element because it got kind of boring if you're just playing day in day out 2-6 limit. Beyond the game.
Yeah, we only had it for 1-2 no limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although Danny's because you're newer, like it's been recent. Like with Tim, I think Tim, when you set that up, when was it? It's still quite a ways ago, right? A few years.
That was probably 2009.
But you're like one of the first people to actually bring that here, like kind of incorporate it, because like a lot of the other casinos didn't do that. They were really traditional and it was just a regular rake, and they didn't think about bonuses. There's a lot of tournament play back then too, right? So
yeah, like we added it like not like, well, I guess we've been on quarantine for like a year, but like not that long. We only had it for probably like 8 months before we shut down.
Okay, so maybe it died in popularity and then they try to bring it back. Because as a poker manager, you're always trying to figure out how am I going to get these poker players in this room, and that's the tough grind, right? Like we had a luxury back in Baccarat when we had the whole north side before Hendry. It was just location and demographic. You didn't have to do anything; the people would come because that's all there was. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that's kind of
easier.
like my casino now. We have a really good location as well.
Mhm. Which one are you at?
I'm at Pure Casino Calgary. Like
Oh, I don't. Oh, Pure. Which one? The airport one?
yeah,
The North. Oh, is Suzanne Lalonde still there?
yes.
Can you stop with the last names? Jeez.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, no last names.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, I'm new. This
Yes.
is my first one. Okay,
Yes,
so
Suzanne.
Suzanne is there.
Yeah,
She.
Big Mike is there.
Okay.
He's the he's
I don't know. I don't know too much about it. I just know, like, I actually went to dim sum with Suzanne in Calgary, and she tried to recruit me to come down to Calgary at one point, because she actually was my boss at River Cree.
Oh, cool.
She's awesome. She was really good. I like her.
Yeah.
She was. Yeah. Yep.
Like before, like when I did my interview with her, I was so scared, but she's super nice now. So
Oh, she's super nice. Yeah, she can give you that look for sure. I think all those upper management ladies always have that mystique of sternness,
True.
or you know what I mean? Hey, except for Gita. Gita was always nice. Remember Gita Yellowhead?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She
How
what
about you?
was her P number? 10?
Yeah.
She had
Yeah.
What's
Lots of
your-
love for Gita.
What's the P numbers at right now? What's the highest? Is it at the 50,000 yet?
No, not with COVID. I don't think it's touched that yet. It will, though, right away.
But even when I left, it was at 30,000.
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
What's it at now?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
what's
Well-
the highest? What's the highest P number you've seen now, Danny?
Well, I'm trying to remember what mine is. I think mine's in the 40,000.
Okay, 40,000.
Yeah, I think it's like 42,000 something.
Wow.
Josh,
I still,
what
I
was
still
yours,
remember mine, and mine's I left 16 years ago. It's weird. You know, like certain numbers sticks with you. Like mine's 14785. So mine was
Okay.
14,000, and I
Yeah,
started
mine's
in
Jaylee, what was you?
2000.
Mine at
Really?
12,560.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm old school.
mine's
I'm
like
old. 8459. 8459. 8,000.
Yeah, you're the oldest.
Yeah, my wife's in the, like she had one. I think it's like 5,000 or something.
Oh my
Five.
god.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
4-digit for sure. And her mum
Yeah.
is like a 3-digit one. It's just crazy.
Yeah. But Gita, 10. Number 10.
That's just ridiculous. Eh?
Yeah. Original OGs. How about Nikki G? Was she have a Nikki?
Yeah,
She's
Nikki
pretty low.
Starr. You can say her last name because she was actually on. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
she's got a low number as well. I think we had talked about it in the casino industry feed actually, but who had the
Mine's
lowest
pretty
number?
low.
Yes. There's I think it's from the Calgary numbers were like from like 1, and I think they actually said who number 1 was too, if there was a 1. Yeah. But,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So Calgary had the first casino license?
Well, with they issued the first numbers there, as far as I remember. There it was
Okay.
Calgary with the original, like, I don't know, with the lowest numbers, and then after that, like, Edmonton had some numbers, and well, I have to read the string again, but yeah, it was interesting because I was the one that asked, like, I'm like, Nikki, who has number 1? And they named somebody too, so I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Nikki Starr is an OG for sure. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually really cool listening to her talk, because I'd worked with her daughter, but I never worked with like her mum, and just to see like the evolution of casinos in Alberta since she started, it was really kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like those are the brains you like to pick and hear the stories of back in the day, because again, I only started off at that K days when I was 18, but I had a big gap of like I never was in the industry that long, and then I came back like 7-8 years later where everyone had kind of already become a games manager or whatever from when I started with them. And then so it's always evolving for sure.
Yeah. So look at the time. It's an hour and 34 minutes already. So we've just completed our episode. So let's go around. John, any final shout outs?
No, this was really cool. Tim, I didn't work with you, but it was really cool listening to your stories and meeting you. To be honest, we probably either I dealt to you or I saw you over the years. But it was really good catching up with you again.
You were at Palace. You're saying?
Yeah, I was the boxman in Palace for 5 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've definitely seen you. You look familiar. Like if it was, I have played in Palace Poker Room prior to all this other stuff. So and later in, prior to all that. So it must have been that.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, John.
No,
because this would have been. Sorry, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Can I butt in? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, it was like, No, I was in the Palace for 5 years, and I spent maybe 3 or 4, 5 shifts off the craps table in that 5 years. So if you saw me, he was on a craps table.
Yeah, that's right. You're a boxman. I could see you being a boxman at the craps table. But yeah, I was just gonna say that this would have been prior to Gateway getting both Palace and Baccarat. So because I would have been able to play at Palace then. And then I wasn't able to. Yeah, okay. That's probably what it was. For sure, boxman. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, all day.
Oh, well, I just want to give a shout out to you for tracking all your equipment down to your hotel room. And thanks for hosting all the way there.
It's not a lot. I just brought my webcam and my computer with me, so I'm just using the microphone from that. So
well, it sounds not bad. Better than mine today.
No, but I felt bad, like, because I know, like, even though Tim, like, you were supposed to be on last week, I still couldn't do it because I was in jury and I was sequestered for a whole day. So there's no way.
It didn't even happen. Okay.
No, I couldn't. Like, I was in the hotel and they take your phone away and they unplug the TV. They put a little thing to cover it so you can't watch TV. They take the phone out. So I can't even, there's sheriffs outside. So then I have to ask them if I can message somebody if I have to. So it was not fun. So, but I really wanted to have us on, and I'm glad that you're on, Tim. I totally appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for reaching out and having me. It's always fun to reminisce those days.
Yeah. Anyone you want to say hi to?
Steve. I can't. Steve. I keep dropping names. I don't know. I like to name drop and use last names. It's just what I do. I think you got to you develop an ability, that's for sure. I could my ability to recognize faces in that VSE book. I'm pretty good. In here. How did you recognize me? I'm in the sky. No, I know that's you. I don't think you should be in here. I remember seeing you on the wall in that book. But yeah, so it all comes, and then just putting names up on the list all the time on the poker board list. You get good with names and saying all these things. So, but yeah, I guess the old crew at Baccarat and Yellowhead. I don't know. I see random people all the time on the street. Hey, do I know you? Don't I know you? I know you. Where do I know you from? Well, must be from poker. Because you meet all the people, right? You guys must experience this. We know all the people, all walks of life because of the casino industry. This is how it is. I know you. Hey, no, I know you don't. You never saw me. I'm pretty sure I saw you something. No, I was never there.
Could I just jump in? One time I had an interview with this guy, and at the end of the interviews, and I was out of casinos at this point, and the guy was like, there was 2 people, like the HR person and this manager, and the guy was like, so do you have any questions? And I was like, did you used to gamble in the Palace Casino? And the HR woman was British, so she started laughing, and she goes, he knows you. And it was so funny. He was like,
you outed him.
Yeah, it was so funny. He was like, oh, well, occasionally I may have, I was like, yes, you come on the craps table after you've gone to play poker. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. I know. We can out so many people. This reminds me of one last story. It's funny because you're talking about an interview. I went in as a poker manager. Okay, coming in as a poker manager / games manager at the time. There was an opening at AGLC for, I think it was slot programming, some coordinator of some sort, something like that. So I had never worked slots, so I didn't know, but I came prepared for this interview. Like, it was like slot optimization, something or other. And so I came in with like all of this research on how I was going to progress the slot program, introduce cloud gaming and all this stuff. But during the interview, all of a sudden they had these glass windows. This big raven came in and hit the window. And I'm like, it went stud. And I'm like, oh, that's not a good omen. I'm like, what are the odds that this big black bird is going to hit the window during an interview? I'm like, oh, that's not good. Needless to say, I didn't get called back. I thought I killed the interview. I was like, you got to use metrics and analytics. I would use this and that. And I would position this slot machine here. This is that. I thought I killed the interview. Then the raven came, and I was like, oh.
You thought he killed it, but he killed the raven.
I don't know. I just it wasn't a good sign, that's for sure.
Oh my god.
Too funny.
Okay, now that you said the thing with the bird, I just want to show this clip from like the first season when John was like, what is John and I talking? Yeah, here, just watch this clip right now.
Okay.
We actually worked on the Legends of the Seas, and it was going from when I first joined it was going from like Vancouver to Alaska, and then so I worked with him there, and I liked him.
That was a bird?
That was a bird. When John was talking, this bird hit the window, and I like looked up. It was all feathers just out the window.
Oh, no.
Oh my god. I was like, whatever John's talking about, maybe he needs to stop talking about it. No, that was great. Thank you guys so much. Just a quick shout out here. So Jenny, hi Jenny. She's saying Steve Vo, last name Vo. You got a shout out. So Steve's a really good friend of mine. So, and yours too. I know Tim. So yeah. Hey Steve.
Yeah,
maybe one day you'll be on.
I hadn't seen Steve since I left the industry. I invited him to my wedding, and he in Costa Rica, and he actually came. I was surprised. So, shout outs to Steve for that.
Yeah, that guy's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Once again, Tim, thanks for being our special guest this week.
Thank you.
And yeah, hope to have you on in the future once again, because I know we probably have a lot more stories that you wanted to share. So.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, I can get the content for that clever better out and see a little bit more.
Yeah. So yeah, once you get that, yeah, show that to the group and everybody watching here. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys.